LinkedIn webinar on the standard, as part of the standard LinkedIn course. And if you can hear me just before we start the recording, just let me know. Just type in your question box there, a little note yes, just so I know everything's working. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Okay, good, good. Lots of people there, lots of people. Good. Good. So let me start my recording here. All right, welcome to our first webinar on the LinkedIn course. And this is the standard version of the course. Just know, I know some of you folks are also customers of the advanced version of the course. It's still important that you watch all these videos here for the standard version, because we have a lot of background information that we're going to share with you that is really important foundational information for the standard, or for the advanced stuff that you're going to do. So welcome, advanced folks and standard course folks alike. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to, in this first session, I'm going to actually go through the software. I'm going to give a little bit of background information on LinkedIn in general, our approach on LinkedIn, and then I'm going to show you how to use the software packages. I think because the software packages are going to really be something that you can do right away and start making money with right away, and start building up your contacts right away is running that software. And so I'd like to get you folks going on that as soon as possible. Let me just log into my members area so I can show you. Actually, Seth, could you, I know Seth's on here, could you send me a quick message just for the members area of the LinkedIn course? I just realized that I don't have the URL. I'm on a different computer here, in a different login. I mean here. Okay, there we go. Let me just log in here. I don't know if you folks knew this, but you can have different profiles on Firefox, and if you are not in the right profile, it doesn't remember any of your passwords from the other one, which is convenient for webinars because then I don't show all of my passwords and stuff on a webinar on accident, which I have definitely done before. So, all right, Ron, real quick. Yeah, we'll get you the contact info for the free trial for the Cash Club course. Actually, I think I saw your email in the Chad Warrior. Oh, okay, Seth says he responded, Ron, to your question with another question, a clarification question. So if you look in your email, it should be in there, and then Seth can get you hooked up. By the way, anybody who doesn't know, if you want to have the advanced course, so you're on the standard course right now, if you want to join the advanced course, you still can. We just opened it this morning, mainly because the other course, there were so many people that emailed me and said, hey, you know, I would gladly join your advanced course with the advanced software and the high ticket item prospecting techniques and stuff like that, but I can't make those times. And there were a couple other people that said, yeah, I would gladly do it. I just need a I would gladly do that. I just need a payment plan. And there were a lot of people that emailed me one of those two things, and so we decided to open up the advanced course again just for 2 days, just today and tomorrow. And then Thursday at noon we'll close it. And I just want to let you all know that I will make sure you can get on this advanced session if you order the advanced session now. We're going to actually send out a survey to everybody and get their preferred times for that live session. It's not recorded, but we'll make sure we'll get your preferred times, and we will make sure that you can attend. Make sure that that live session is at a time when you attend. So we're already sending out surveys to people that have ordered the advanced course this time around, and we'll make sure that that's a time that you can attend. We also have added a payment plan so you can pay in 2 payments. So all you need to do is go to chatto.com, LinkedIn, chatto.com/LinkedIn, which you can see right there on your screen. And when you scroll down to the bottom there, you will see, let me scroll down and show you, you'll see both options are active again, where you can actually order the advanced course again. And for the advanced course, we have a two payment plan, or you could just buy it, you know, for the $9.97. The early bird price for the standard course that you're on right now has expired already, but also you can upgrade. And so if you need an upgrade link, if you're on the standard course right now and you want to upgrade, send us an email and we can send you instructions for upgrading. There won't actually be any payment now for upgrading. It will be charge you nothing up front, and then in a month you'll be charged the rest of the payment, the $500, second payment for the advanced plan. So you'll actually get it for a little bit cheaper. Everyone else has 2 payments of $600. You'll have just 2 payments of $500. So you already paid the first $500, so there won't be any payment there. And then just next month we'll bill you for the second payment of $500. So yeah, any questions on that, just go ahead and ask. I can clarify there, but I do want to let everybody know that you can jump on that advanced course again for a limited time. Okay, so let me just log in here. All right. Okay. Another piece of housekeeping. This is being recorded, and all the recordings will be right here in this members area that you see, where you logged in to get your registration links and everything. The recordings of this standard sessions are going to be right here in this members area, and you can watch them at any time. So, but there is an advantage to being on the live recordings, because I'm going to take questions, and if there's anything that's unclear, I can answer those questions for you here live, and so that's a big advantage of just being here for the live version of the course. Now, if you have questions during my presentation, Aubrey's on here, and anybody who's part of my SEO Cash Club knows we do these every week, and Aubrey, she organizes the questions and then gives them to me via this chat box right here, which helps me to not have to monitor so much the chatter in the question and answer box, and I can focus on presenting the material. So after I present my material, I'll open it up for questions. And you can ask any questions, then she'll feed them to me right here. So if you have a question while I'm presenting, you can type it right into your question box. It's no problem. I might not see it or get to it if there's a lot of questions flying in, but Aubrey's going to be organizing those and making sure everyone's question gets answered. That's a pretty high priority. That's part of the advantage that I want to offer you just as being part of this live course. So I want to make sure I get everyone's questions answered. All right, so let's talk about hold on, let me see if I can get Seth on here to answer you, Ron. Okay, let me first talk about the software here. And the first thing we want to talk about is where to get the software. You might have already noticed this, but when you log into your members area here, when you go down to the bottom, it's going to have right here LinkedIn Cache bots. And the LinkedIn Cache bots there are they're directly downloadable. These are exe files, so sometimes when you download an exe file, your antivirus is going to tell you it has a virus in it. But these are all safe. All these files are safe. It's just direct downloads of an exe file is going to sometimes trigger your antivirus. But you're safe to download them. So you can see the 5 different pieces of software that we're offering here. We do, just so you know, in the advanced course, if you decide you want to upgrade to that, the advanced course includes all of these 5 pieces of software, but we also have an ultra advanced piece of software that is mainly set up for really scaling this huge and having multiple accounts all behind different proxies, mass messaging through, you can have hundreds of accounts and mass messaging through each account, things like that. And that's all part of the advanced software, the advanced package if you decide you want to upgrade to that. But these 5 are also included if you upgrade, so you get those no matter which package you buy. And these are the 5 pieces of software I'm going to go through today. Sherry, just to let you know, everything you need to know about LinkedIn, I'm going to teach you. Okay, I'm going to give you the basics to get you up to speed on LinkedIn in general. So don't worry about the getting another course to get the background for LinkedIn. In the next session is when I'm going to start more of the basics for LinkedIn, my own personal approach, my own personal marketing approach to using LinkedIn, and you'll have all that information that you need. As well as if you're on the live sessions, if there's anything that's not clear, you can ask it, and I can backtrack and take care of that, so don't worry about that. And you won't necessarily need to use a virtual machine on this. I am going to cover that today, but you won't necessarily have to do that depending on your strategy. So just stay tuned for that. All right. All right. Now, just so you know, this software that I am going to talk about today, there are a number of ways you could use this, and I'm going to call my approach here more of a gray hat approach. Obviously, it's not white hat because LinkedIn does not want you using automated tools on their system. So I couldn't call it white hat, but it's a safe approach. We're not talking about spamming here. We're not talking about anything that's black hat. These are tactics that you could use on your white hat account that is your main account that you are using to sell your products and services. It's connected to your real name. It's connected to your real business, your long-term business. So these are the techniques I'm going to talk about using this software for are safe to use on that if you stay within the guidelines I'm going to give you. Now, you could also use this software really to dive into the black hat world. If you really want to go deep with it, I would recommend you get the advanced package and upgrade to that because the other software is really more set up for that. These pieces of software you're looking at here, you can use for black hat, although they're mostly set up for safe gray hat, we'll say, activity. There's a lot of loopholes you can take advantage of by just purely automating things on scale, like having 1,000 LinkedIn accounts, building up 5,000 connection requests on each account, messaging them all, then half the accounts get banned, and it's all done with proxies and automation and all that. That can be done with the advanced course software, but yeah, this is more focusing on building a real following on LinkedIn, a real list on LinkedIn that are, they're following a real person, and it might be a long-term persona. You might be setting up some kind of a niche persona that you're invested in long-term. I've had niche sites that I've had for years, and they're all based on a persona. It's not my real name, but I might set up a LinkedIn account for that persona, but still it's a long-term approach. It's a long-term investment. The goal is to have this persona spread out consistently throughout the web, including on LinkedIn, and I'm not looking for churn and burn in that case. Churn and burn is something we talk about where you're doing massive black hat activity, and so you're burning through some accounts are getting banned, but it doesn't matter because you're just scaling it on such a large level that it doesn't really matter if you burn through some accounts stick, some don't. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about something you could use on your own business account and stuff like that. When I show you the software and get through it, you'll immediately see some of the applications that we could use for long-term or for short-term black hat stuff. But that's not necessarily what I'm going to focus on today. Also, I'm going to show you how you can use this software behind a proxy, but these software packages here don't have proxy support included. Okay, that's more in the advanced package. That software is set up to run with proxies included. I'm going to show you in a second how you can sort of hack that and use the proxies with these pieces of software as well if you're doing multiple accounts or different accounts that you want to keep separate. Also, down here at the bottom, you see these 3 videos when you log in. Set up a virtual machine using VMware. Are you broadcasting your IP address without knowing it? Hide your IP using the Foxy Proxy add-on. And those are also for more gray hat activity if you have multiple accounts. Say you have a real account that's connected with your real persona with your own face, and then you have a fake persona that's connected with one of your niche sites. You might want to have 2 accounts, and you're going to want to keep those separate in LinkedIn's eyes. And so if you watch those 3 videos, that's really important. Those are actually from my Cash Club, my monthly Cash Club, but they're really relevant to what we're talking about here. And so so go ahead and watch those. Those will really help you kind of get the basics for internet privacy and hiding your identity so that LinkedIn isn't connecting the 2 accounts and stuff like that. Okay, so really quick, before I get into each software package, I want to talk a little bit about proxies because if you're in the advanced course, I didn't cover this just because it's a little deeper of an explanation, and I focused more on tactics, sales tactics for high-end sales, but understanding how proxies work is still important. If you have multiple LinkedIn accounts and you're trying to keep them separate so LinkedIn doesn't know these are all the same people, proxies are really important. Now, this is sort of a basic outline of how proxies work. And actually, you can ignore this down here, this internal network part. That doesn't apply. But this user here on the left is you. Okay, and this is from Wikipedia. This user on the left is you. Over here, example.com, you can just insert in your mind LinkedIn.com. So there's people over here connected with example.com that are looking. They can see who's accessing their site, who's logging in, and what computer they're on, what geographic area they're from. All that I talk about in these videos, the information that you give away by logging into LinkedIn or really any site. And so they are examining that, and that's one of the big ways that they look for fake accounts or black hat activity, even gray hat activity. And so using proxies is a way to hide that, because basically if you have a proxy, which is this red computer, that's a computer out there on the internet that you are able to utilize that will hide your identity from LinkedIn over here. So you're still able to access your LinkedIn account, but they won't be able to see your own computer, your own geographic area, your own IP address, which is like your numerical address. All those things give away who you are, and they give away a lot of other information as well, which these videos here talk about in a lot more detail. But a proxy will hide all of that for you. So when LinkedIn looks and says, hey, who's logging in under Bob Smith's account, where are they from, what IP address, what's their internet IP address, what's their geographic area, the only information that they'll see is the information for this proxy. So they'll see some number like 52.34.60.196, but that will just be the information from this proxy. So they'll also see the geographic area that this proxy is sitting in, not your own. And so it's a great way to keep, you can have multiple proxies, and that way it's a great way to keep your accounts all separate. So hopefully that's clear. I'm not sure how technically minded the different folks are on this training, but that's a basic background of what a proxy is and how it works. And if you're going to use this software with multiple accounts, you're going to want to use a proxy. Now, the software that I'm offering you today doesn't have proxy support built into it. So it's not like you can go into the software and type in a proxy and say, I want to use this proxy. But you can do it by using this process I'm going to outline here. I'll show you right now. If you open Internet Explorer and you go, if you do this process that I'm going to show you right now, this will allow you to, and I do recommend that you purchase proxies if you're invested in this long term, because you can get them for $10 a month for a couple of 3, 4 to 10 proxies, something like that, and then you can actually associate one LinkedIn account with one specific proxy address for the life of that LinkedIn account. So every time you log into that LinkedIn account, you're going to use a certain proxy, and then it'll look totally natural, like this is just one person, they always log into the same account through this certain IP address, and that's what LinkedIn will see. So there are some good sources. I like using Squid proxies. That's one that we've used a lot. Squid is great, good prices, and let me show you real quick. I think it's squidproxies.com. Yeah, squidproxies.com, and these will be private. You want to click on this private proxy thing, that way you're not sharing it with anybody else. And let me send this to everybody. You can see some of the pricing there. I think we have this 10 proxy option, and the nice thing about that is you can choose the city, and you can make sure you're logging into the same LinkedIn account from the same proxy at all times. So, but let's say you want to have all of your internet activity on your computer going through a proxy. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to go into Internet Explorer. You're going to click on this little gear right here in the upper right. Then you're going to click on Internet Options, and then you're going to click on the Connections tab, and then you're going to click on LAN Settings. Okay, this is probably what it'll look like when you log in there. It'll say automatically detect settings, and this proxy server box will be unchecked. All you do is check that box. Your proxy provider, like say if you go and buy proxies from Squid Proxy, they'll give you this information. They'll tell you the port, and they'll tell you the address, the numerical address to put in, and that's all you need to do. If there's anything else you need to do, like there's this some kind of secure stuff or any kind of advanced stuff in their instructions, you can put that in. But usually all you have to do is just punch in the numerical address that they give you and the port that they give you, and you'll be good to go. And then after you do that, you have to do one more thing. You go down to the bottom of your screen, you type in cmd.exe. All right, and this is going to be a little intimidating for some of you, but it's pretty simple to do. cmd.exe, and that's going to bring up a command prompt, which means you can actually type commands in to your computer and tell it to do something, okay? And then you're going to type in the following: netsh space win http space import space proxy space source equals IE. And what that's telling your computer to do is, for all internet activity going through this computer, I want you to import the proxy information that I put into Internet Explorer. So that's how you do it, and that's it. Once you put software, you're going to have to enter your software license info, which you open by clicking on clicking on Tools and clicking on Software License Info, and then that's going to bring up your username and password. You just put in the same username and password that you received or that you set up when you ordered this course, and that'll get you access to that. And the reason why we do that is just so these bots stay exclusive to people that are purchasers of this course. Now I know it says there SCHAT SEO Cash Club. We put that branding on all of our software, even though I know this is not the Cash Club, but that's kind of the branding we put on all of our software just to keep everything kind of under one umbrella. Some of you do have Cash Club access, so you'll see the advantage there. So that's the first thing you have to do, is enter in your license info there, and just type in the password, username and password you set up, and click OK. And then you're going to put in your LinkedIn username and password. And I'm just going to show you guys all my password. Hopefully there's nobody on here who's going to try to hack me while I'm on this. I'll just change this password after this session. So please don't hack me. It'll be real embarrassing for me in front of everybody. So you put in your username and password for your LinkedIn account. That's what goes in that box. And a lot of these bots are going to have this exact same setup. Your username and password for your LinkedIn account is going to be set up, is going to be right there on the front. Then what you put in here are your keywords. All right? And these are the keywords that are in your target market. So let's say that Melvin Higgins was an SEO consultant. He's going to put in things like this. That would be targeting people that are into SEO and local SEO and have their own SEO businesses. If your local SEO consultants say to dentists, let's just use the quintessential dentist, orthodontist, braces, dental surgery, and you're going to put in all the keywords related to your own niche that you're targeting. Okay, and it's going to be useful for you to target one niche at a time. So let's say you target all kinds of different niches. It might be useful for you just to start getting people all from the same niche. So let's say you're really open to any kind of small business owner, doing local SEO consulting for any type of small business owner, but I would do these keywords in groups, because what's going to happen is this is going to go and get you connection requests all related to these keywords. And if you know, hey, most of the people that are requesting to connect with me are all related to dentistry, then that's going to help you later on when we run our autoresponder, because the autoresponder is going to invite these people to a group. That's how I recommend you set this whole system up. So that way you could say, all right, right now for a few weeks, I'm going to target dentists, mainly dentists and orthodontists, and I'm going to get connection requests from them using my connection request generator. And then I'm going to invite them all to a group, marketing for dentists. So then I know most of the people in that group are all going to be dentists or orthodontists that are interested in marketing their dental clinic, and that's the subgroup that I'm focusing on to start. Hopefully that makes sense. If I'm moving too fast or not making sense, go ahead and type in a question. So then, max results. And this is where I tell you what this software actually does. What this software does is basically goes out and visits profiles. That's all it does. It has a built-in delay to make it look natural. So I think it's somewhere between 15 and 45 seconds, something like that. And it's Aubrey, correct me if I'm wrong. Aubrey's the one who's worked on this a lot, but I believe it's somewhere between 15 and 60 seconds. It'll pause between each profile that it visits, LinkedIn profile, and then it'll go to the next one. And what that is going to cause to happen is when someone logs into their LinkedIn account, up here under this little flag, they're going to get a notification that you, or in this case, Melvin Higgins, since that's the account we're logging into, visited their account in the last 24 hours. And believe me, the power of curiosity is amazing in this case. People will see that you visited their profile, and especially if you set up your LinkedIn account like I'm going to show you, to really interest these folks. When they're going to see that you visited their account, they're going to come visit your profile, and they're going to say, oh, look, you know what, I'm going to connect with this person. I wonder why they're visiting and looking at my profile. This is a little tactic that you can really only use on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the only social account, well, there's some of them, but the only real popular social network that allows you to see who is looking at your profile. And we are using this to our advantage to get tons of connection requests. And let me tell you, this stuff works. I have a virtual assistant who runs this thing every single day, and with my target market, my target keywords, and it brings in connection requests that are very targeted people every single day from just running this one simple little piece of software, having it visit profiles. Now, max results, this is really important. So this is, you're telling it, I don't want you to visit more than X number of profiles, and you can put that number in right here. Now, some of you might say, well, hey, why don't I just put in 10,000? I mean, why limit it? And this is one of the big limits that you have on LinkedIn, is that LinkedIn, the main way that they combat spam is they have a filter that only lets you actually visit their site a certain number of times in a 24-hour period. And if you exceed that number of visits, so if, like, let's say, so here I am on LinkedIn, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click the refresh button, okay? That counts as a visit or as a page view. If I hit refresh again, okay, I just refreshed my browser. Now that's another page view. If I hit it again, that's another page view. And they limit it. Now, there's a lot of different people out there that say, some say 5,000, some say 3,000. I don't know the exact number of that's the limit that LinkedIn has. But I would recommend that you don't go over 1,000 with this to start. Now, it's going to depend on how fast your computer is. It's going to depend on, you know, how fast can your computer process this bot. There is a delay built in, but your computer, if your computer is really slow, you might get away with doing more. If your computer is really fast, you might have to ratchet it down a little bit. And I would even start with 750 max profiles to visit, and maybe gradually go up from there, just to see what LinkedIn will allow you to do. Now, if you visit LinkedIn too many times, if you have too many page views, let me show you what the error message will look like you'll get. Just a minute, see if I can find an example of it here. I think I had it on my sales letter. Actually, let me look here. Oh yeah, there it is. You can see it on my sales letter. So here it is right here. See this little error message here? LinkedIn is momentarily unavailable. Usually you will get that. This does not mean that they've banned your whole account. This does mean so your account will still exist. People can still send you connection requests and things like that, but you'll be banned from logging into your account for 24 hours. And at midnight UTC, everything resets, and then you'll be able to access your account again. So you can slowly ratchet it up and see what LinkedIn will let you do every day. But that's why I say start low, start with 750, and slowly work your way up, and keep it, with your specific system and the specific speed of your system and how fast it's processing the requests. It'll probably be a little bit different for everyone, but it's probably going to be around 750 to 1,000 that you want to put in there for that limit. And I always forget UTC, what time it is. If you run into this problem, I just type right into Google, what time is it UTC, and that'll give me the exact time UTC, and it's called Coordinated Universal Time. And at midnight, if you've been banned for that day, at midnight your account will reset, or your login will reset. You'll get to log back into your account. Everything will be fine, and you'll be able to, all the messages you receive during that time will be waiting for you in there. Now, don't push it. You don't want to just run up to your limit every single day. I don't recommend you do that. I recommend that you try to avoid getting this ban, because if you do this a lot, if you bump up against this limit a lot, it is going to raise attention, and so you want to be careful. So that also tells you want to stay under that impression limit, the number of visits or impressions your account can make, and so you don't want to run other bots at the same time as you're running this bot. You want to take it easy on it, and if you get this message a couple times, well, that's fine. Then you know what your specific system can handle, and you know how to keep it under that amount. Don't just run it every day until you get banned, because that's not going to, your account's going to get in trouble then. So I would just, and then if you get banned and you're like, shoot, I got a message waiting for me in LinkedIn and I can't get to it, all you do is type in what time is it UTC, and that'll let you know when is midnight UTC, and then you'll know when you'll be able to log back into your account. And they label it UTC. They're the ones that say midnight UTC, so I just use their exact term. I don't use GMT or anything like that. I just use UTC because that's what LinkedIn is using for their own guidelines for when they reset that impression limit. Make sense? So I would encourage you, just run it, and you'll see what it'll do. I mean, it's going to validate the license first, and then, oh shoot, I think I didn't even put my username and password in. Let me do that real quick. I just want to show you this in action real quick. Let me put in my username and password off screen here. Hopefully it works. And then we're going to click run. Okay, so I click run, it's validate. It's going to say validate license like this, and then it's going to start collecting profiles to visit. Let me pause it. You might get something like this. Just click pause. If you get something like this, security verification, click pause and then type in your CAPTCHA. And you can just do it just like this is just a regular browser. So here I am in front of everyone. And I don't know why it's not recognizing this test account. I don't want to waste time here. Okay, I'm not gonna mess around with this. We just set up this account right before this session, so I am not gonna waste my time. So maybe somebody on here did hijack my account, which I don't really care. But anyway, that's the that is the connection request generator, and you're not going to get to see it in action because for some reason I can't get it to work. But anyway, I can't get the login to work. But anyway, so that's the basics on that. Now, if you're running this every single day, I would encourage you to pay attention to the other bots that you're running. Make sure that you're staying under your total impression limit, and you are going to see connection requests coming in every single day from that account and from the people that are related to these keywords right here. So what it's going to do is going to go out, it's going to do searches on LinkedIn for each one of these and collect them all and then just go and visit them all in order. So that's why I encourage people to use a virtual machine. I encourage people to use, I use TrustVM for this because it's really cheap, $11 a month. I run all my bots on this TrustVM account or TrustVM virtual machine. And what this virtual machine is basically a computer that's out there. I think it's in Poland or I'm not sure where. And someone else has a whole big room full of servers, and they're renting out space or a little machine that you can actually log into yourself and do, and all you have to do is click on remote desktop connection right here and log in. Every Windows machine has a remote desktop connection software, and this is a replacement. So if you're doing this, you don't have to use a virtual machine on your own computer. But obviously this is not free. If you have a virtual machine on your own computer that you're running with proxies, then obviously that's a different story. But this would be someone else's virtual machine on their computer that they're letting you use for a certain amount per month, and you can connect to it using that remote desktop connection software that you see right there on Windows. They also have it for Mac. I believe it's a free download. You just do a Google search for remote desktop connection Mac, and TrustVM or any kind of virtual machine provider will just email you the login details for the machine that you've ordered, and you just type in the login information right there into the remote desktop connection software. And if you're using a virtual machine like this, then that means you don't need to use a proxy, because LinkedIn is seeing your IP address of the virtual machine. They're not seeing your actual computer. Everything that you're doing on that virtual machine is through this little remote desktop window where you're basically able to click around, type things in, visit different websites all through the virtual machine, and you don't have to do any proxy or anything to hide it, because your home computer then is totally safe from being spied on basically by LinkedIn and their log servers and everything. So okay, so let's go to the next piece of software here. And yes, Ron, this is being recorded. So the software is, the next one I'm going to do is the article liker right here, which is the third one down. And this is another way to get incoming connection request that works great. And that's if you just want to vary your approach a little bit. You don't want to only use one approach. This would be the other piece of software that you can use for that. Now, I would recommend you do not run the profile visitor and the article liker back to back. We found if we do that, even if we really limit the number of profiles we're visiting the first run around, we almost always were getting banned when we ran the article liker and the profile visitor back to back. I think the article liker just generates so many impressions because of the way it works that it really yeah, it just really can cause a lot of problems. So I don't recommend that you do that. Now, you can maybe separate them by a day. Maybe for one day run your profile visitor, and then the next day run the article liker. So basically what this will do, and this again you can type in this, basically what this will do is this will go out and search every single article on LinkedIn on a certain topic. So it's going to go and do a search here for you, and it's going to say I want to like all articles on SEO. It's going to do a search, but it's not going to do a search for people. It's going to do a search for content on other people's profiles, and then it's going to go down and it's going to like their articles. And you might say, well, that's crazy. How is that gonna help generate requests? When people see you liking their articles, they are going to request to connect with you. This stuff totally works. I've seen this happen over and over, and it generates connection requests. I would say it probably generates them a little bit slower than the other bot, than the profile visitor, but it does generate connection requests from people. So it's basically, so say here, if you go down here, it's scrolling down, it's going to see anything related to your keywords that you put into the software here. It is going to click like, and then those folks are going to see, hey, so-and-so liked my content that I put out there, and they're going to request to connect with you. Both of these software packages generate connection requests incoming. So you don't, obviously, you only have 3,000 outgoing connection requests. You can only initiate, say, hey, I want to connect with you 3,000 times. So that's why we built this software, so that you can run the software, and then people request to connect with you use up their own connection request limit instead of you using up yours. And also, since it's so hands-off, it's just a great way, without having to do anything at all, to get connection requests coming your way. Okay, that one is pretty simple. You can put in your own delay, which I recommend. Again, you're going to have to play with it and see how fast is your machine, how fast is your internet connection, how fast is all this stuff being processed, because you want to stay under that. I think it's 2,000, 3,000 page views per day to stay under that amount. So you're going to have to experiment with the delay, but you can put in a seconds delay, like 10 seconds between, or say if you wanted to make it look really natural, you could say 160 seconds between each time you click like. And what that's going to mean is that's about 2 minutes, which makes sense. You read an article for 2 minutes, you like it. You read the next article for 2 minutes, you like it. And then up here, again, you can put how many do you want to like. Do you want to like 500? Again, I'd encourage you to start low. Start with maybe 700 or 500, something like that. And this one just does one keyword at a time. So if you're targeting dentists, you would want content related to dentists, and then you put in your username and password, and that will go out there and start liking articles one by one with whatever delay you put in. Again, make sure you test this out. Don't just run up to your limit every single day. You want to keep your account in good standing and keep it safe. But as long as you have a big delay and you stay under that daily impression limit, you're going to be fine. All right, any questions about that? Aubrey's giving me a little question here. Let me see. So okay, so I've actually got the software running now. So I'm not sure why it didn't run before, but this is let me answer Aubrey's question here. Sorry, folks, got to get my chat window up. Okay, if we had 10 accounts, would that mean we would need 10 virtual machines? You could do it that way. You could also just have 10 proxies, one proxy per account, and you could that's one way you could do it, one proxy per account, and you wouldn't have to have 10 virtual machines. Now if you watch these videos, let me type Aubrey a quick question here. If you watch these videos, you will, let me go to these videos here. Down at the bottom, this describes why, specifically this video here, are you broadcasting your IP address without knowing it? This describes specifically the different reasons why you would want to use a proxy or a virtual machine, and when to choose the different options there. Because virtual machines are they're probably the safest option if you have 10 accounts and you don't want them to be associated with each other. A virtual machine is going to be the safest option for you, and everything literally is hidden if you have a virtual machine. There's no way Google will ever see LinkedIn, there's no way LinkedIn will ever see what you're doing if you're using that virtual machine. So that would be one way to do it. It's a little more expensive and it's a little more technical. Proxies are a little simpler to do if you have 10 accounts. But I would definitely watch all those videos first there that I showed you, the setting up a virtual machine, are you broadcasting your IP, hide your IP using Foxy Proxy. Those 3 videos there are going to answer that question in a lot more detail. And the second question was, I don't understand why you would need to use proxies with a virtual machine. Won't they see lots of things happening from the virtual machine and ban it? No, because you're not. The reason why you're using a virtual machine or a proxy is just to keep the accounts separate. You want each account to look like a separate person, like an individual person logging in through their own dedicated IP address, and you don't want any of the other accounts to log in through that IP address. That's the reason why you use a virtual machine or you use a proxy. So that's why I recommend a virtual machine. It's just a way to keep things a lot cleaner, and you'll see once you watch the videos there in the members area. And yes, you'd only need one virtual machine. The question is, you only need one machine at TrustVM to do your program, even the advanced software. Yeah, you only need one machine per LinkedIn account to run your software. I wouldn't recommend running all, if you have 10 accounts, running all those accounts on the same virtual machine on TrustVM. At that point, you're going to need to use proxies because you want to separate each account with a different IP address even if you're running it on a single virtual machine. But yeah, even the advanced software, if you have a virtual machine and you want to run this software 24/7 without having to use up your own computer's resources, then you would just get one TrustVM machine, order one TrustVM machine, and run all your software on that machine 24/7. I schedule it out, and I have one of my folks in the Philippines doing it, logging in every single day and running the different bots on a schedule that I tell them. The delay setting, I recommend, it really depends on your goals. If you're really trying to push it and do this fast, you could do 10 seconds, 30 seconds. If you want to look like a human, you're going to want to do more like a minute or 2 minutes, like 60 seconds or 120 seconds. How many machines can we install and run the software on? You can install and run the software on an unlimited number of machines. We have no limit there. The only issue there is that each is, say, if you're sharing this with, say, employees or staff or virtual assistants, you're going to need to trust them with your username and password for this course, because that's what you have to put into the machine. But each time, you can install it 100 times if you want. Each time you start it up, it'll ask you for your username and password. You type it in, you can do it. So really, we want you to be able to scale this and use this software as much as you want without any kind of licensing limits or anything like that. Okay, if you're using TrustVM, which is the simplest way to run virtual machines, I would recommend that you use this little cheap one, which is what I use. If all you're doing is running bots on it, $11 a month. So if you're going to do 100, say you're going to do 100 accounts, that's why I gave you a little instruction here about how to set up a virtual machine on your own computer, okay? On your own computer. And just watch the video because it has all the technical details of it and everything for how to do that specifically. But that would be a way to, you would set up your own virtual machine on your own computer, and each virtual machine that you set up on your own computer would have Foxy proxy, or you could use the procedure I showed you earlier for a different proxy for each one. I don't want to get into that in too much detail because that's why we did these videos, just so you would have that instruction to watch over and over. Question: Can I use a VM to run the software and still access my regular account, white hat? Yeah, and I've done that as well. So I have a virtual machine on my white hat account. It's in Poland or something, and then I also access my account through my own computer. So LinkedIn then sees two IP addresses. They see, oh, this guy's logging in. Sometimes he logs in from Poland. Sometimes he logs in from Chicago. But it's consistent. I mean, those are really the main two. Well, it's a little different with me because I have staff and everything logging on. But as long as they see mainly those two IP addresses logging in, you'll be fine. Sometimes the first time you log in from a new location, like say you log into your account through my bot on a virtual machine, LinkedIn will ask you, hey, verify that this is really you. We just sent an email to your email address, your default email address. Click on the link there just to verify that it's you. And once you click that link, you're good to go, and they accept, hey, this is you. So yeah, but basically, yeah, you can run the software and access your account on your own computer. If we have a virtual machine, do we still need a proxy on a virtual machine per account? Yes. The answer is yes. You need a proxy on a virtual machine per account. All right. Don't we need the disks for a window installation to do a VM on our own computer? Is there somewhere we can get them cheap? Yes, but you can actually just use your same Windows disk. That's what we've done. You set up a VM on your own computer. You just hopefully you still have your Windows disk that came with your computer, and you just use that same disk for your virtual machine as well. And you should be fine. What is the specific link for the page you're on right now? Oh, I've got this. Let me just refresh the page so you can see it. Aubrey, maybe you can just send this out to them, to everybody, just so they see this. This should be where you're logged in. If you're an advanced customer, this won't be where you will log in. This is just for the standard course. But yeah, just go to that link and log in, and you'll see the welcome video of my handsome face there, and you will see the registration, the bots, and down at the bottom you'll see these 3 videos. All right, Larissa asks, when I'm setting up a new profile or a new persona, I have no connections. How do you handle that? Anthony, yeah, Anthony, if you could email Seth about that. Okay, Anthony, about the advanced course. The video is not showing up in the advanced course. I think he was emailing somebody else about that, so we might have forgotten to put those videos in for the advanced folks. I thought we did, but if you email chadwarrior@gmail.com, Anthony, Seth will get that hooked up. Maybe if it's specific to your account, he'll get that hooked up. And Larissa says, when I'm setting up a new profile or persona, I have no connections. How do you handle that? I'm going to lead you through that process in the other videos. Just because today is more focused on the software, we're going to get more into the details of how to start up a new account, how to go from 0 connections to start to building up your connections. I mean, you can run this software with no connections at all. Especially the profile visitor, every single day if you run it, people are going to be requesting to connect with you. And that's part of what it's for. And that's why I wanted to cover the software first, so you folks can just start running the software, experimenting with it, and seeing those connections coming in. Again, if your profile is not set up quite right, some people might not want to connect with you. I'm going to teach you that in the next session, how to set up your profile so that people want to connect with you. But if you're running that software every day, you're going to be getting connections coming in. So, all right, and Jay, what have you marketed and what has converted well? I'm going to cover that in other sessions as well, just because this is more just focused on the software itself, and I can get into some more just tactics, specific tactics, products, what types of things work well on LinkedIn and what don't, and we'll get into all that in future sessions. Okay, let me do the next software package, because we've done the article liker, we've done the profile visitor, and I want to show you this one, which is the contact book messenger. Now this, obviously I put in this is a brand new account. I only have 1 contact, so, which is Seth, my brother. So I can't really show you this in action, messaging every single contact, because there's only 1 contact, but it will it will message every single contact that you have. When I'm talking about contacts, I'm talking about these people here. When you go into network and you go to contacts right here, so network, contacts, and then it's going to give you a list. Now you'll probably have a lot more than this, since this is just a test account, only my brother's in there, but it's going to go to this exact page here, and it's going to message everybody here who is your connections. That's everybody that you've requested to be a connection with, and they've accepted it, or everybody who has accepted or has requested to connect with you, and it's going to message them all. So first you have to answer this question: do you have more than 500 contacts, messages to send per batch? LinkedIn allows you to send up to 50 per batch, and that's what I recommend you do. I recommend you do 50 just because that way, again, you want to stay under LinkedIn's daily page view limit that we talked about. So if you send 50 in a group, 50 messages in a group, that's only one page view that you used up sending that. If you send them, say you have 1,000 connections and you send them one at a time, you're going to hit your page view limit really quick. So I recommend you do 50 per batch. The people that you're messaging won't be able to see each other. So it won't be like when you get a group email and you can see everybody else that got messaged. They'll only see that you messaged them, which is really important. Again, like the other ones, you want to put your LinkedIn login information up in here, and that's just your LinkedIn username and password. This will also let you do multiple accounts. So say you have 20 accounts, and so you'd enter your email, your password, and the proxy associated with that specific account. So let's say you want to keep track of which accounts you have created with which proxy. And this is the one piece of software that we have included proxy support, just to allow you message people, a lot of people at once. So you're going to put in your email and password of your LinkedIn account, and then the specific proxy that is associated with that account. So it's important that you have some kind of an Excel file that has a list of all your accounts if you're doing multiple accounts, and specifically which proxy is associated with that account. Keep that proxy pure. So you want to say, I only log into this account with this specific proxy. And then you just click Choose File, and it will message everyone who's a connection in every single one of those accounts. And then your message title and your message body. Now, I want to talk about this Manage Database. So if you go up to Tools, and let me do this again just so I show you how I got there. If you go to Tools and you click on Manage Database, this is really important. Every time you do a fresh broadcast, you want to click these three buttons: delete all contacts, delete all sent, and delete all blocks. This has a database component. It keeps track of who was sent a message, and so if you're doing one session and say it gets interrupted, this will then remember, oh, all these people already got this message, so then it'll start. If you start it up again, it'll keep track of who was sent that message, so you're not sending out duplicate messages and stuff like that, which is really important. If something happens, your internet goes down, or the power gets shut off, or something happens and your messaging session gets interrupted, the software will keep track of it, so you don't have multiple messages, multiple copies of the same message being sent to the same person. And you can check these boxes, and this will automatically run through the group, and then when it's done, it'll automatically clear out of the database those contacts. Then you're ready for a fresh broadcast. If there's people that you know on your contact list that you don't want to message, you can put them in there, and you can actually put more than one too if you want. So let's just say that. It's going to add them, then you add another one like that, and you got to do them one by one. So I'm assuming you don't have like hundreds of people that you don't want to send a message to. Let me clear this right now just in case I forget. And then you can see what's in the database right there with those three buttons. So it's important, if you just start the software up and you've done broadcasts before, like on a previous day, just as best practice, just press all these buttons to clear out the database to make sure you're getting a fresh send. I don't recommend sending 50 messages a day. No, this is not. When this is per batch, this is not saying 50 messages total. This is saying when I send a message, it's going to send them in groups of 50. because you're doing a broadcast here. So LinkedIn allows you to send up to 50 in a group of 50, and that lets the process go a lot faster. So if you have 500 connections, it's going to only hit LinkedIn 10 times. Boom, boom, boom. In batches of 50, it'll send out 500 messages. That's the best way to do it. Now, I want to see something about the message here. Okay, this is really important because the one other thing that can happen when you get a message from people, okay, in LinkedIn, in general, people on LinkedIn only want to get a personal message. They don't want to get a broadcast. Now, this works a little bit differently with groups, but with your connections, people only want to get a message from you, a personal message from you. If you broadcast offers, and it's clearly a broadcast, you're going to get marked for spam. Not from LinkedIn, but from your recipients. Okay? So if you get a message and you if you get a message of somebody, when they're reading your message, they can mark spam. They can say, hey, this is a spam message. And if enough people click that spam button, your account's going to get restricted. So you have to be really careful with how you word it. Again, it's not a danger of LinkedIn themselves banning you for spamming. It's your recipients, your connections. So I like to send out very conversational and very brief messages that sound like a one-on-one message. Now, obviously, if you're doing my advanced course and you have dozens or even hundreds of accounts and you don't really care if an account gets banned or not, you're just running through messaging connections, then that's churn and burn. That's fine. You're doing a really advanced kind of aggressive strategy. But this is for people that have a long-term account that they want to keep in good standing with LinkedIn. So I'll send messages that are something like this. How's it going? Not going. We've been connected on LinkedIn for a while. Thought I would reach out. How is business going? Chad. Okay. And since this specific software does not personalize each message with their first name, it doesn't have any kind of a field for that. Specifically because this is not meant to be used really aggressively. You want to be really careful with it. So you want it to sound like, hey, this is just somebody, they just open up their LinkedIn account and they just shot me a quick message. I would not promote anything this way unless you're doing churn and burn, because if someone gets a message where you're promoting something directly, you're going to be asking for trouble. But this is a great way to message everybody and just see who replies back. How's it going? I thought I'd reach out, or you could even say something like, I periodically go through my connections and reach out to anyone that I haven't personally connected with in a while. I like to personally connect with all my connections. Email me back. Could we talk sometime on the phone? Or even that might be a little bit much, depending on your target market and your connections. But do you see what I'm saying? You don't want to have a link in there. You don't want to. This is just to cultivate a relationship with your connections to show them that you care. All right. So you want to say, you and I. Use the word you and I have been connected on LinkedIn for a while. I thought I'd reach out. How's business going? Something like that. Then once people reply back, and I encourage people to even have a virtual assistant on there who is filtering through these and saying, oh, these 5 people, they emailed back and they seem like they'd be really interested to actually talk to you. This would be more if you're doing one-on-one sales. But you want it to sound really personal and make it really short, because the longer your message is, the more likely it is you're going to slip up and you're going to put something in there that makes it look like a group message. You want this to sound like an individual messaging an individual. So even this message itself might be a little too long. How's business? I wouldn't even send out a link to a website or a freebie. Think about, what would you send to your friend? Okay, you need to think about this. Would I send this exact message to a friend, and when they got it, would it seem like I was just contacting them as a friend? You might send a freebie link like, hey, I ran into this website today. Check it out. But even that, you think about it, you might not even send that message to a friend. That's more something you would send on a message broadcast. So I would avoid even that. You want it to just be very personal. You want it to be very short, very conversational, and not seem like a group broadcast at all. The only thing this does is messages all your contacts. So it doesn't message a certain number of them. It doesn't message one specific contact or anything like that. And so you want it to seem like a real personal message. So that's really important. You're just reaching out to them. Hey, how's business going? Or I thought I would connect. We haven't talked in a while. Or we've never really talked personally. You could say that. Hey, we've been connected on LinkedIn for a while, but we've never actually talked personally, so I thought I would reach out. Maybe don't even have a call to action in there. Don't even say, hey, email me back or write me back. Just like you would do for a friend. Real important. That's going to make it sound real personal. So that's really important. Now, if you're prospecting, you're just keeping them in the loop with you. You're just keeping your name on top of their consciousness. They might come and visit your profile. Who is this guy? This guy's one of my connections, and he's messaging me personally. Let me check out his profile. It's just meant to generate interest, not to sell. If you've read anything about check move theory in sales, that's what you're doing. It's just a check move, where it's just a quick touch, supposed to seem personal, and that's it. You can imitate Frank Kern. If you imitate Frank Kern's messages, a lot of his messages seem real personal. You can see how he sort of writes you as if he's writing just to you. Anybody like that when you get their message, it seems like they're writing to you personally. Try to see what they're doing with their style. That's what you want to do. Because if you message all your contacts and 5, 6 of them click that your message is spam, that's going to be the end of you personally messaging. You might be able to get out of an account ban 1 or twice, but this is not something you want to mess with if it's a long-term account. Okay. Yeah, Gary Halbert is another good idea, a good one to imitate, where he's got like a one-on-one style, a colloquial kind of a style. Definitely. So, and this is not a group messenger. I'm going to talk about inviting people to your group. I wouldn't even invite people to your group with this contact book messenger. Now, some people are going to teach a real different approach to LinkedIn, but I'm very conservative when you're contacting all your connections, because my personal opinion is your connections are not targeted enough to do aggressive blasts. It's going to get your account in trouble. If you're just trying to reach out and be personal, that's one thing, but if you're trying to send them to visit a link or get them to take action or get them to call you on the phone, these types of things are going to seem like a broadcast, and it's going to be frowned on. So yeah, so I answered that. Niche specific. It doesn't do any kind of niche specific broadcasting. All it does is broadcast to all contacts. Okay, let me go to the next bot. And this is going to answer your question, Larissa, because this is more where we get into groups. Let me just start it up here. What this software is a group messenger, okay? And this is one where you can be a little more aggressive with your marketing. Again, you need to be careful, but people who you've invited to be in your group are people that are a little more of a targeted list of people. And because the group has a specific content, when you set up your group like I teach you, your group has a title that identifies it as being a certain niche focus. And that's going to mean that the people in that group, if it's a group that you own, the people in that group have said, hey, I want to be connected with this person who has this group, and I want to hear more from them. I want to be more a part of their community. And so you can be a little more aggressive with sending messages if they're in your group. And so basically what this software does, and this is similar to the other software, you first need to go into Tools, you need to enter your LinkedIn login information, and you're going to log in there, and then you're going to put in a message content, and it's spinnable, so this allows you a little more flexibility. Be careful with the spun text, because it can be, if you don't know how to do spun text, it can end up really awkward. But you use this word 1, then you do a bar word 2, bar word 3, and then another thing, and then every time it sends it, it'll rotate between those 3 words. That's more for LinkedIn staff, not so much for you. When they look, so they'll see various messages being sent out and not a bunch of all the same messages, because otherwise you don't really need to spin it. You can just send the same message to everybody. Now again, I would try to be conversational with this. Reference the group in your message. Make sure to say, hey, we're in the same group, so that's why I'm sending you this message. This is also a great way to invite people to your group. If you write them a message that says, hey, we're in the same group, I notice we're both interested in XYZ, I've got this other group that I've created, would you like to join it? And then have a link to your group that you created at the bottom of that message. And that would be you'd be messaging people in someone else's group. Now, let me say something about that strategy. If you're doing that, we're going to talk more about this when I get into the groups, specifically the group strategies, and that's not the next session, but the 2 sessions after that, we're going to get more specific into groups, running groups, building groups, inviting people to your groups. But this is the bot we're primarily going to use to invite people to our groups. Now, in this specific case, I would encourage you to set up a dummy LinkedIn account, flesh it out, put a photo in there, set up the profile so it looks real, get some connections to the profile, join a bunch of groups, not just one, and then start messaging people in a target group. So start messaging people. Say you're doing dentists, all right? You're going to want to find a group that you're going to click on advanced search here, and you're going to search groups. Actually, let me go to the home here. And you're going to do a search for groups of dentists. All right, and see when I type in dentist, right down here we've got the dentist network, and we've got dentist. Let's click on the dentist network. And what this is look at this, a group of 20,000 dentists or dentist-related professionals. This is a place for you to connect with one another, share ideas and best practices regarding clinical developments and the business of managing your dentistry practice. So this is a group full of 20,000 dentists. So if you were targeting dentists for your local SEO, for local SEO consultants, you are going to, this is going to be a target group for you. But I wouldn't recommend that you use your long-term LinkedIn account for this. I'd recommend you set up a dummy account, and you're going to have to wait for, I believe it's 5 days before you can send a message to people in a group. But once you've joined a group, okay, You can message people in that group using this bot. Whoops. I joined a bunch of other groups, so it's not letting me join anymore. I think you can only have 9 pending group requests, so I'm not going to be able to join it right now. But once you join the group, you can message people in the group, and you're going to have to message them one by one, which could take a long time manually, but with the bot, it goes really fast. And you would message them and say, hey, we're both in the dentist group. What's this group called again? We're both in the dentist network group. I thought I'd message you because I have another group that's related to dentists. And again, you're sending this from a dummy account. Even though the group is owned by your real long-term evergreen account that you want to keep, you're not going to invite people using that account because there's too much risk messaging strangers with your main account. Set up a different account to message people with. Use a proxy, okay, like I showed you earlier. Set it up with a proxy when you do this group messaging activity, and invite people to the group that you've created. Now we're going to get a lot more in detail about creating a group, how to do it, and even how to invite people to it. But that's one of the big ways that you use this group member message bot. So it's going to be really useful later on in this course when we start to build up our groups. Now, that way, you've used a proxy, you've used a dummy account, so that if you get into any trouble messaging people too fast, or say you message people in a group and you find the group is just really not that receptive and they all mark your messages as spam, then you've done it behind a proxy, you've done it with a fake account, and your real account can then be untouched. As long as you follow my recommendations in those 3 videos that I showed you for hiding your identity. You might even want to do it through a virtual machine, a Trust VM virtual machine that's completely separate just to be safe. And that way you can invite thousands of people to your group really with no risk. Say your account gets in trouble, you can just set up another account through a different proxy and start inviting people to your group. Now, again, try to be as conversational as possible. Give a reason why you are inviting them to your group, and make it really colloquial and make it short. Don't make it long. Don't make it sound like promotional. Just say, hey, I notice we're both in the same group. I have a group I've set up as well. Maybe you'd like to join this new group that I set up. Danny, real quick, just message Seth at chadwarrior@gmail.com, and Seth will help you with that, with those 3 videos. You might even need to just refresh your page, and they might show up. I think we forgot to put them in for the advanced users. Okay, and then this is max messages to send. So obviously, if your group has 20,000 people, this bot is going to send a message to all 20,000. But remember, you've got a daily limit of impressions with LinkedIn that you're going to be able to hit with that account. So I would try to send a max of maybe 1,000 messages per day. Maybe you could slowly inch it up. Maybe send 2,000 messages. Even that, you might want to stay, just to start, do 500, see how you do, see what kind of response you get. Another way you can make it seem more natural to the LinkedIn servers, as they're sort of scanning LinkedIn to see who's using automated tools, is make your delay really long. Make your delay 60 seconds. And again, you just got to do the math. How many hours in the day do I have? How many seconds do I have? And then how many messages can I get this thing to send during that time? When you're dealing with a really large group, you do want to put your max messages, because otherwise you're going to end up hitting your daily impression limit. You're going to just end up sending way too many messages. So make sure that you are doing all this through a proxy. Okay. Now, there is an exception to this. If you have your own group that you own and these people want to hear from you, you probably don't need to use a proxy then, and you're going to want to message your own group members from your own long-term account. And in that case, you want the delay to be even longer. Make it be 120 seconds, something like that, when you message people in your own group. Now, you can, through the groups themselves, you can actually send out one broadcast to your group that you own per day. Per week. One broadcast using the LinkedIn system. They have a built-in system that we'll get into in our later session about that. So you will be able to send one per week without even needing this software. But if you've already sent your one broadcast to your group members for the week, you might want to send them another message about some other thing during that same week, and that's where you use this software. And you don't have to be quite as careful if you're messaging people in your own group. So all you basically have to do is, say you want to send 1,000 or 500 in a day, you just need to, and you know your seconds delay, so all you have to do is just calculate the time. So say I only want to send 500 messages today, and I got a 2-minute delay, so that means I can run this bot for about, I'm not even going to do the math, but X number of hours, and it's going to be starting to get to the end. Then just pause it, because if you click run, you can just click pause and then wait for the next day and then click run, and it'll just pick up where it left off. That's the best way to do it. If you have like a 20,000 people list, you're going to have to monitor it a little bit and log back in, say make your max 20,000, okay? And then just keep track of the time. So 5 hours later, you want to go back into that virtual machine, or you want to go back to your computer and click pause so that you don't hit your daily impression limit. And then the next day, jump back in, click run, and it'll continue sending the messages out. So that's one way you could do that if you want to send a message to every single person in a group. Now, I would say 20,000, most groups aren't this large, frankly. A way to get around this is just to find smaller groups that don't have so many members as this. If you have a group that only has 500 members, then you just message everybody in the group in a 24-hour period, and then you're done, and you got everybody in that group, and you don't have to keep track of who got the message and who didn't. That's a little bit easier of a way to manage it, but you might want to target this 20,000 group member group for some reason. So yeah, and when I talk about impression limit, I'm talking about how LinkedIn keeps track of how many times you've hit their site in a day logged into your account, and that's the main limit we have to work around here. That's our real main obstacle to doing large-scale stuff if you're only working through one white hat account. Okay. So, and you don't have to enter who you want to send the message to, because it's just going to send a message to everybody in the group. It's going to go into that group, and it's going to click into the group. The software will do this. The software will actually tell you what to do. It'll say, and go into the group that you want to message, then click run. And so you'll go into the group, and then you're going to click, and then it's going to click on members, and it's going to message everybody in that group. So you don't have to enter who you want to send it to. It's just going to send it to everybody. And that's why you want to keep track of how many people are in the group and how many people you're trying to limit for the day to send to and all that, because it's not going to discriminate. It's just going to send it to everybody who's a member of that group. And yeah, so if you have a 20,000 member group, that's why you're going to have to keep the software open overnight. You're going to have to pause it after you've hit 500 people, and you get to come back the next day and click run. And you start to see why the advantage of having a virtual machine like on TrustVM, because you don't want your own computer tied up all that time while you're trying to send out 20,000 messages over a few days. You want to be able to pause it, log out of the virtual machine, and then you can use your own computer how you want. You don't have to worry about your computer shutting down or Windows automatically updating itself. The virtual machine, you can just pause it and then come back in the next day, run it without any worries of using up your own resources. So the software, as long as you pause it, your software is in the same run, the software is going to, it won't send a duplicate message to the same person as long as you're in the same run of the software. If you close the software down and reopen it, the software is going to be totally fresh. It's not going to remember who it has sent to. Okay, so that's why you got to keep the software open. If you're pausing it, say you're sending 20,000 messages and you have to pause it, you're going to have to keep it open. Again, all this stuff, folks, if you're messaging people in groups that you do not own, make sure you're doing it through a proxy, through a dummy account, a test account, or a dummy account. You don't want your own account getting bogged down and getting banned for sending messages like this. So the way that you will know how many messages it has sent is just by this delay. You're going to put in your own delay so you know how long it's going to delay between messages. It's going to send one message at a time. So you can just count your seconds, do some math, and you'll know how many hours you can let it run before you have to pause it. Okay, and you don't need I'm just going to answer Din's question. You don't need proxies if you're running it through a virtual machine, as long as on that virtual machine you're always using one same account. If I've got a virtual machine here and I'm switching between accounts on that virtual machine, I'm going to need a different proxy for each account. But if I'm using that virtual machine basically only for one account, then I don't need to bother with the proxy. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let me make sure. I think I've covered. Oh no, so let me do the next software. Now I'm going to talk about the autoresponder software, and I did a free video on this. So some of you, oops, let me open that up. Some of you are already familiar with this autoresponder software because I gave it away during my launch. But I do want to cover it just for anybody who's on here who did not see that video and see the free autoresponder software that I gave away during the launch. And basically what this is the same thing as the other one. You're going to put in your LinkedIn username, you're going to put in your LinkedIn password, you're going to put in your message text. And the bot's real simple. Basically all it does is any incoming connection request that you have, so when you log into your account, up here in the right, there's going to be a drop down and it's going to say you have X number of connection requests pending. That means you have 10, 15, 20 people, 30 people that are asking to be connected with you. And what this software is going to do, actually let me close this one here. What this software is going to do, the messenger bot, the autoresponder messenger, it's going to automatically approve every single connection request that you have coming in. It's not going to send connection requests out. It's going to approve connection requests that are coming in. Okay? This software, this autoresponder software is in your account. It's right here. So when you log in, it should be here for you to download. It was part of it was free with the course. I mean, with the launch, but I also have it for download here in the members area. So it's going to automatically respond to every single connection request that is coming into your account. So it's not going to send any out. It's going to automatically approve anyone who's saying, I want to be connected with you. And then, not only that, it's going to send them a message. And this is where it's really, really powerful, because if someone's connecting with you, they're initiating to connect with you, This is one of the greatest opportunities for you to message people without worrying about being marked as a spammer, because they have requested to connect with you. You are not initiating contact with them. They're initiating the contact with you. And this is what makes it so powerful, especially when you use it along with especially the LinkedIn. I mean, really, I've found that the LinkedIn connection request generator, the profile visitor here, works the best. You get the most incoming connection requests from that software. When you use this autoresponder in conjunction with this connection request generator, it is such a powerful combination because you're basically doing nothing. You're clicking a button and then you're leaving. People are requesting to connect with you, and then you're able to send them a message of marketing right there. And usually what I do is I try to get people off of LinkedIn at that point. Well, first of all, in my message, I'll usually say, hey, thanks for requesting to connect with me. I'll say I'm going to accept your request right now. But would you also join my group? It's for dentists who are interested in learning more about marketing their practice online. Group, and then you put a link to the group right there. That's the first thing I do, is invite them to a group, and that's if you want to keep everybody inside LinkedIn. I also will invite people to join my other lists. And let me send this to everybody right now. One of the big things that I do is send them to my Facebook, because I want people to not just be on my LinkedIn list, but I also want people to join my Facebook list. So I send them to a page that looks like this. Oops, not this one, sorry. Page that looks like this. You want to get 5,000 visits per week from Wikipedia? Click like. That way I say, hey, also, would you also take a look at my Facebook page? I have an offer on there for how to get 5,000 visits per week from Wikipedia, and I send them directly to this link. And I'm going to send you, as part of this course, I just sent this to everybody. We have a little app that will actually create these pages for you that look just like this, and it's a great way to get people not only on your on your LinkedIn list, but also on your Facebook list. That's just a little freebie for you guys. You just fill in the boxes here, and you can create your own cool little Facebook opt-in page for free with this little app that we've generated. It has the directions all right there for you. If you have any problems with it, go ahead and send a message to chadwarrior@gmail.com. Seth can help you with that because he created this little tool. Great tool. It's a great way to get many more people on Facebook. And what this does is that now you have them in two places, which is really important because sometimes people don't always log into their LinkedIn account, but they are logged into Facebook, or maybe they're on LinkedIn, but they forgot to log into their Facebook that day. And if you're trying to market to people, you want to be able to reach them multiple ways. And if you've noticed, even how I did this launch, you probably got your messages from multiple sources. And so this is one way that you can get them off there. And then actually, now some people don't like this at all, but I push it even farther. After they click like, they actually don't get the course quite yet, the free video course. After they click like, it sends them to this page. Actually, it's not this exact page, but it's similar to this page. And it says, hey, to complete your thanks for registering. To complete your registration, enter your name and email. And then they also get on my email list. So right there, I've taken someone off LinkedIn. I've got them as a LinkedIn connection. I've got them as a Facebook fan, and I've got them as an email on my email list as well. And really, between those three things, I'm going to be able to connect with this person for any kind of promotion that I need to do. Really, really powerful. So hopefully that was helpful. That's just a little marketing tip that I do. If you and where, here's the thing, where I put the link to, let me say one more thing. The place where I put the link to this is, sorry, I keep going to the wrong link here. The place where I put the link to this Facebook opt-in page is in the group. So the first message they get from this autoresponder bot is, hey, if you join my group, now some of you have done this, so you already know this exact process. If you join my group, I'll give you a free video course on how to get 5,000 visits per week from Wikipedia. Again, remember, they have requested to connect with you, so this isn't going to be seen as a spam message. They've requested to connect with you. Of course you're going to message them. They initiated contact. This is not unsolicited. It works great. But once they join the group, inside the group it says, thanks for joining the group. To get your free course, click this link. It brings them to this link. Then they click like, and it takes them to the next place where they can opt in. Now, you don't have to push it that hard. You need to be careful with your target market. You know what your target market can handle, and you know what they can't handle. I tend to push it pretty hard, and some people might just say, oh, you know, this is just too much. Man, first he asked me to join the group, then he asked me to like his Facebook page, then he asked me to opt in, you know, but this is the first time I've met this person, and I want to make sure that I can get them in all of my hoppers, and it seems to work great. And I've actually haven't received a single complaint for this process. But again, this specific process is an internet marketing crowd. We're used to multi-liking stuff and all this kind of stuff. If you're with a more conservative crowd like dentists, you might not find them quite as receptive. You might want to only have one. Say they join the group, and then you ask them to like your Facebook page, and that's it. I don't have any kind of Facebook autoresponder. I don't really know how to do an autoresponder on Facebook. If anyone does, I'd love to know. But Facebook, it's a little bit harder to do this kind of thing than with LinkedIn. So that's the strategy I really recommend you use with this LinkedIn Messenger. Now, if you have some kind of other process that you're following, you can put that in too. Maybe you want to get people on the phone, and you could send a message to them that says something like, hey, thanks for requesting to connect with me. I like to talk to all, I'm gonna accept your connection request right now, and I always put that into so they know I'm going to accept your connection request right now. But then I say something like this: I like to connect with all of my new connections on the phone. Could we talk on the phone next Tuesday at 3 p.m.? See what that does? This is getting them on the phone. Say you do most of your selling on the phone. This is getting them on the phone, and that means you took them from being a LinkedIn incoming connection request that, again, you didn't even have to work for, right? You got it just by running this connection request generator, this profile visitor, and then you've turned them into your phone, a phone lead that you can sell by phone one-on-one. Very, very powerful, and especially some of you folks doing the advanced stuff from my advanced course. I know some of you guys that are on here, you're immediately seeing the power of this, combining it with some of my other strategies that I talked about. Use those strategies right here with this autoresponder bot. You're going to get, these leads are going to be so warm, so hot, because they've requested to connect with you. Their interest is they're already interested enough to take action without you even asking to request to connect with you, and then you're getting them on the phone or getting them well, I won't give away some of the strategies, but you use some of these strategies that we talked about in the advanced course to turn this hot lead into a multi-thousand-dollar commission sale. And you didn't even have to pound down the door. You didn't have to cold call. You didn't have to waste your time. They came to you. That's what's so powerful about this technique. Okay, any questions? I believe. Okay, let me say this. So here's what I do. I have my assistant, my virtual assistant in the Philippines. He runs these two pieces of software every single day. He runs the LinkedIn profile visitor, this connection request generator, and then he runs the autoresponder. Every single day I tell him, I want you to run that. We figured out our exact number of impressions. I think we do like 750 or something like that for our Trust VM per day, and then every day he runs the autoresponder, and so every day I'm getting leads coming in without me having to even touch it. Again, I pay him, you know, I don't even want to say how little. He's in the Philippines, not much per hour. And every day he's generating leads for me by running this software. I usually jump on Instant Messenger with him if I am running some other bots. So if I'm going to run, if I'm going to do a messaging campaign and I'm going to run the group loophole messenger, that's what this is called, the loophole messenger, because the group loophole is really an unknown. Most people don't know you can message people like that through groups. If I'm running another bot like that, I'll tell them, hey, pause all the bots because I need to do some other campaigns with some other bots, and that'll keep me under my impression limit, my 3,000 impression limit. Or if I'm doing the contact messenger or something like that. But just as best practice, I have him running every single day the connection request generator and the LinkedIn autoresponder. And you can actually do this if you have multiple virtual machines. You could do this on multiple accounts. So say you have one account where you're marketing to dentists, you have another account where you're promoting some kind of a high commission event for someone else on a different account, and you could run the bot then on that account as well. You can run it as many times on as many accounts as you want per day. Okay, and Ron says, I strongly recommend everyone get the advanced course. You can tell everyone I said that. Yeah, if you combine some of the stuff I shared just today, we've barely even gotten into the first session, and if you combine some of the stuff that I've shared with you today with the advanced core strategies, you are going to be dealing with a LinkedIn money-making machine like you've never seen before. So Greg Taylor, he says, I second Ron's comment. Danny, I don't have any PDFs for this process. We weren't really planning on doing any kind of transcripts or anything like that. I'll think about it, but we weren't planning on doing it just because we got so much else going on with the course. If a bunch of people request these processes in writing or PDFs, I might have someone put it together if a lot of people ask. But just send me an email at chadwarrior@gmail.com, and I can do that. Okay, Sherry says, how many accounts do you recommend per niche? It really depends on your strategy, Sherry. If you're doing a churn and burn, Aubrey, you can put that one up on the instant messenger. Actually, I lost the chat window here. Let me see. Aubrey, you can just shoot me that. There we go. How many accounts do you recommend per niche? It really depends on if you're doing a churn and burn type strategy, or if you are doing a single account that you want to last forever. If you're doing churn and burn, you want to have as many accounts as possible. But that would be more where you're really going black hat. You're basically spamming people with many, many, many accounts. If you have a long-lasting account that you don't want to risk in any way, I would keep your one long-lasting account on a totally white hat setup, and then have a few secondary accounts where you're using the group messenger, like I showed you earlier, to invite people to your group. You don't want to do mass group messaging in groups that you're not in if you are doing it from your white hat account. You want to do those from secondary accounts, from dummy accounts that are completely hidden and disconnected from your white hat account. So I'm talking about this group messenger message bot when you're inviting people to your groups. And we're going to talk more about this in the specific group sessions. We have sessions specifically on marketing, 2 sessions specifically on marketing to groups, and I can get into a lot more of that in detail in those sessions. Let's see here. There was another question from Steve. Since you opened up the advanced course again, for those of us who purchased, can we all attend the live course again? Yes. Yes, you can. You can attend the live course as many times as we have it. We might do it even 2 more times, depending. For those that order today and tomorrow and do the payment plan and all that, we are going to survey them and find out the best times so that everyone can make the live sessions. You can attend the sessions as many times as we have a live session. If you've already bought the advanced course, maybe I know a lot of you folks have already been on the live session that we did last week, the 2 live sessions, but you can attend it as many times. It's going to be the same content each time, but you can attend as many times as you want. Tresera asks, can you share a virtual machine and have different proxies for 2 people on a virtual machine? Yes, if you're using like a Trust VM machine, like, let me bring up my browser. Like this, one of these Trust VM machines, you're going to want to go through the process that I outlined earlier in this session where I talked about switching proxies. You can do the exact same process with your virtual machine. And each time that if a different person is using that virtual machine, they need to log in and switch the proxy before they do any activity on LinkedIn. That would be if 2 people are sharing a virtual machine, or if you're using the same virtual machine for 2 separate LinkedIn accounts, you're going to want to keep those separate with the proxy, and you can do that with the process that I outlined earlier in this session. Can advanced members get a presentation of the advanced software in a bit more detail? Sam, the best thing I could recommend for you there is just attend one of the next live sessions that we do and just ask any questions that you have. Probably what I would do is just jump on there, use the software, and get a specific list of questions you can ask, and then you could ask those on the next time we do a live session. Do we have any homework? Sherry asks. The only homework right now is I would recommend right now that you start running the profile visitor. That's my main homework that I want you to do, is this connection request generator software right here, the first one on the list. I want you to start running it and experiment with your limits. You know, first do it maybe 500 and see how many incoming connection requests you get. I want you to get used to running it every day. Set up your process for how you're going to run that. Then if you get a bunch of connection requests, run the autoresponder software and test out different messages and see what kind of response you get. You want to set up your hopper right now, and a marketing hopper is basically you're getting people from one thing and you're moving them along to the next step, then you move them to the next step, and that's what I encourage you to do right away. Your response is going to increase after you set up your LinkedIn profile according to my guidelines, especially in tomorrow's session. Your response rate is going to increase, but for now it's important you just start to get some responses, start running the software. But again, be careful of your impressions. I would start with a low number with your connection request, maybe 500, something like that, and see what you can see what kind of connection requests and leads you can generate with it. Din says, can you briefly talk about setting up a LinkedIn profile? That's for tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is all about setting up a profile. Even if you're a LinkedIn veteran, I encourage you to watch it because we're going to talk specifically about setting up your profile as a sales machine. Most people's profiles that I see are set up as a resume, which a resume does not generate sales. So tomorrow we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to get you going so that your profile, you're going to run this connection request generator software. People are going to come to your profile to check you out and say, why did this person visit my profile? And when they hit that profile, you want your profile to sell them on something. And I'm going to talk about exactly how to do that. So yeah, just use the top two. Even if you have just a real basic profile set up that you think is kind of lame, you could still run the connection request generator. It's not going to hurt, and just see what kind of response you can get. And if you just joined the session, Danny, and you missed it, this whole entire session is being recorded, and it's going to be here in this members area. Let me copy and paste this link for you. It's going to be in this members area. You can just log in and see it. I'll need to talk to Aubrey specifically how long it takes her to process the recording and stuff. I don't know how long, but that is where you can get the full explanation. We just spent the last almost 2.5 hours going through that. So. And yes, Anthony, to answer your question, this connection request generator, oops, let me bring it up so everyone knows the software that I'm talking about here. Yes, the answer to your question, Danny, Anthony. Their connection request generator, you see it right here. It'll say profile visitor on it. All it is visiting their profile just like you would if you were doing it manually. You're not using up any connection requests. In fact, other people are going to be requesting to connect with you. So you only can ask to connect with someone else 3,000 times. But you're not even going to have to use those up because other people are going to use up their 3,000 connection requests to connect with you. So that's the great thing about it. Hey, Anthony says, lots of great info. My mind is a bit foggy. Yeah, I know this was a lot of info, and that's why we recorded it, so you can all go in and watch it. Aubrey says this recording will be up not until tomorrow, so she'll probably be processing that tonight, and you'll be able to watch the recording tomorrow, maybe even the next day. But yeah, you'll be able to watch it again, and I encourage you to watch the recording tomorrow so that if you have other questions about the software, you have any issues, we can discuss those in our other live sessions, and I can give you tips and tricks. If you're having errors, like if the software is giving you an error, let's not talk about that stuff on the live sessions because I'm not going to be able to troubleshoot actual errors. So if LinkedIn is giving you an error or if the software is giving you some kind of a error message, much better to just send an email to chadwarrior@gmail.com because, and I'll send this out to everybody, because we might need to troubleshoot back and forth about your specific system, what operating system you have, and there's a lot of specifics if you're getting like an error message. Sometimes even your LinkedIn account might be producing an error message because of the type of account that it is. So if you have questions about execution and strategy, we can talk about those in the live sessions. But if you have any actual error messages or bug reports that you find, please just email those to chatwarrior@gmail.com. That way the staff can go back and forth with you and troubleshoot to get it working for you. In a live session like this, I'm not really equipped to troubleshoot specific issues with your operating system and stuff like that. So Anthony says, can you measure your success with the number of people visiting your profile as a basic metric? Yeah, that does let you know, is the software working? Is it generating curiosity? I mean, really what I would do is I would measure my success by how many incoming connection requests I'm getting. Because that's measuring not just how many people visited my profile, but how many people visited my profile and then were interested enough to say, you know what, I want to connect with this guy, or I want to connect with this girl. I want to find out what they're all about. That's really your measure of success. Now, again, when you watch my other sessions about setting up your profile, that's going to increase your response rate a lot. Your success rate is going to increase once you set up your account, like I show you. All right, I think we got everybody's questions. Let me know if there's any other questions. Gina, good to see you, Gina. Gina's going to type in her question here. Would you suggest setting up different groups under the same name? Yeah, this is more of a business strategy question. There's a lot of answers to this because it sort of depends on how you have your marketing set up. But if the people in the groups all know you personally, that you're sort of the expert or the guru selling to them, then it's fine to set up the groups under the same name. So you could be a local SEO expert that targets dentists and a local SEO expert that targets dog groomers, and you might have two different groups, the group for the dog groomers and the group for the dentists, but both of them are run by you, because whether they're a dentist or they're a dog groomer, both of them know you as their guru. So it's fine to do that. It does get a little sticky then with your profile, because then your profile has to somehow sell to both those groups. Sometimes it's good to do a big campaign. So say you're going to say for 6 weeks or for 8 weeks, I'm going to run my LinkedIn profile, my connection request generator, the autoresponder, and I'm going to build up a dentist group. I'm going to specifically target dentists every day with my connection request generator, and that would mean here in this software you're going to put in dentist-related keywords every single day, and those are the people you're doing. And then your autoresponder also, when you accept their request, is going to be focused, hey, come to my dentist group, because you know you put those dentist keywords in, those dentists are visiting your profile, and you're getting them into a group. In that case, you would make your profile dentist-focused maybe just for 10 weeks while you're doing a big push, and then maybe you decide to switch to a different group of prospects. You can change your profile up whenever you want. So that's one strategy you could use. You can make your profile a little more general and kind of make it sell to everybody, and then use the autoresponder to sell your different groups. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So I have a PC and a laptop in the same room, says Graham. Do they have separate IP addresses? No. They both your PC, your tower, and your laptop are connecting to your router. And then your router, that box that plugs into the wall, is the actual machine that LinkedIn is seeing. So the router just has one IP address, and that's the IP address LinkedIn sees that you're using to access your account. So the actual IP address, which is your computer address, is the address of your router. Now, if you don't have a router, if you just plug your computer directly into the wall, and then that's directly goes to your internet connection, then that's probably just one IP address for the one computer. That's it. But most people have some kind of a wireless router in their house or office, and the router is the thing that actually has the IP address. Sherry says, do we have to be concerned about footprints with this software, or is that just a Google ranking thing? No, you don't have to be concerned about footprints for Google. But remember, everything you're doing is inside LinkedIn's system. So you want to think about if someone ever dug in and looked at your activity, what would they see? Are they going to see that you logged into 5 different accounts, all from the same IP address, and you mass messaged people from each account? That's a pretty big footprint. It's not going to affect your Google ranking at all, but it will affect how LinkedIn interacts with you and if they decide to ban you and things like that. So that's why we talk so much about different IP addresses and proxies, especially if you're doing black hat stuff, and especially when you get into the group messaging and inviting people to your groups, you're going to need to have a secondary account that you're doing your messaging, because LinkedIn kind of frowns on that kind of activity. So you want all that stuff to be totally separated from your white hat account, even if your white hat account is the one that owns the group. But we'll get into all that more in the groups, the 2 sessions on groups. Graham says, my partner and I have our own profiles, obviously both working on the same router, so are we at risk? It's a real-life situation. If you and your partner are both, your LinkedIn profile is clearly that you both work for the same company, you're not going to be in trouble, because LinkedIn knows, I mean, if you think about it, if you go down the street and AT&T has an office building where all of their employees sit in that office building every day and work, and all of those employees for the most part are going to have a LinkedIn account, and they're all going to log into the LinkedIn account through the internet connection that comes from that one office building. So then you've got probably 500 people all accessing LinkedIn from the same IP address or the same couple different IP addresses, and that's no big deal because LinkedIn knows, hey, they all work from the same place. So just make sure, Graham, that your profiles clearly say to LinkedIn, hey, we both work for the same company. And that way they'll know, hey, that's why both of these are coming from the same IP address, because they're both sitting in the same office. So yeah, but then if you start to do mass messaging campaigns for groups, I would have a third account that's totally safe, totally separated on a virtual machine somewhere, or really set up well with proxies, so that if that account gets in trouble, neither you or your partner get into any trouble, Graham. So. All right, any other questions? Okay, I see. Let me just scroll through here. Oh, I see Danny's question here. If I want profiles for different locations, countries, how do I use the VM to do that? Well, one thing would be to find a virtual machine provider where you can specify the country. That would be one way. You would have one virtual machine for each country, and this is more an advanced question, Graham. I know you're part of the advanced course. That's why I'm answering. You would want to have a virtual machine probably for each country, or bare minimum, even if you're using the same virtual machine, use a different proxy that's country specific for each account. And Aubrey, I don't know, do you know what's the secondary IP address provider that we use, Aubrey, where you can pick the geographic location? I can't remember what it's called. I know you had just used it for some testing, I think, last week. Not the squid proxies. We've used it a lot for location specific because they let you pick up a location for your proxy. Din says, is hide my ass any good? Yeah, you can actually use hidemyass.com, but that's a little bit different. That's a VPN, which also works great. You can use a VPN, and they have a little piece of software for you that you can download, and I'll show you it right here. And that will do for you everything that I described earlier, where you're getting into your command prompts and you're typing in commands to change your proxies and stuff like that. If you get Hide My Ass VPNs, then they'll let you download a little piece of free software that goes with their service, lets you change the IP address whenever you want. It's a really easy way to do it. You're limited to only using their IPs, and then obviously then you have to just pay for their own service. But yeah, Hide My Ass is it's a great solution. It's been used a lot. It's highly recommended by a lot of internet marketers. So yeah, that'll definitely work for you. Okay, that was it. AnonymousProxies.net. This one, AnonymousProxies.net. Let me send to everybody. You click on View Our Data Centers, and you can see where they have their different proxies. So I just clicked on United States, and you can see they have different proxies in different states. And now the map is not working for me. Okay, here we go. So you can see in my area, Skokie is where their one server is, and Chicago is their other server. And you can go all around the world and pick a proxy in any country. Well, not in any country, obviously, only the countries where they have proxies. On the right, you can see them. But that's a great way if you've got a LinkedIn account that's a fake account that's specific to one country, then every time you access that LinkedIn account, you would want to use the proxy that you've purchased for that specific country. Or if you do Hide My Ass, they also have server locations all over the place as well. You can see the list right here. So that's another option if you want to use hidemyass.com. Anonymous proxies you could also do. And that way it looks really natural to LinkedIn because they see, oh, look, they're always logging in from Germany, and it's a German LinkedIn account, and it just makes it look all the more natural. All right, any other questions? Sam, yes, you can use Hide My Ass on your own machine. I would still recommend that you watch the videos about giving away your IP address in the members area. There's more to it than you just want to make sure you understand the big picture. So, but yeah, you can use it on your own machine. All right, any other questions? Yeah, Sam, Hide My Ass will cover it. But there's some specific checks that I encourage you to do in that video, especially this one. Are you broadcasting your IP address without knowing it? Just watch that video and perform the tests that I say to do in that video to make sure Hide My Ass is fully hiding your IP address. It can replace both VM and proxies, yes. It can, as long as you watch this. I want to encourage everybody, watch this video. Are you broadcasting your IP address without knowing it? That's my one caveat. You want to always do the tests from that video to make sure any virtual private network provider, any proxy provider, any setup is hiding your IP address, that you're not broadcasting it without knowing it, because any kind of setup sometimes has a leak through it that you actually broadcast your IP and you tie everything together, and if LinkedIn decides to do a little digging, they could see it. So make sure to do the tests in that video to make sure you're safe. You don't want to risk a long-term LinkedIn account because you haven't checked properly, and that video will show you how to do it. Yep, Hide My Ass can be used to manage multiple Google local accounts too, Din. Yes, but the same warning applies. Make sure you're watching that video or you're broadcasting your IP address without knowing it. I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but that's really important. All right, any other questions? Okay, folks, well, we've been going for about 2.5 hours, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's been great having you all on. Hope you learned something useful here. And again, for your homework, just get out there and try out the first 2 pieces of software, the connection request generator and the autoresponder software. Be careful with your IPs. Be careful with your daily impression limits. Stay in LinkedIn's good graces so you're not building up an account just to have it banned in the end. All right, I'm going to close up this session now, and again, we're going to have the recording in the members area probably tomorrow, so you can watch it again. And our next session is tomorrow at the same time, 2:30 p.m. Central, August 21st. It's going to be on optimizing your profile, getting massive targeted connections, and the LinkedIn search algorithm. So I will see all you folks tomorrow. If you have any technical issues with the bots, just send them to chadwarrior@gmail.com and we can help you out with any kind of error messages that you're getting. And any other support requests, send them to chadwarrior@gmail.com. All right, I'll see all you folks tomorrow.